Today we will give you a brief explanation of what is ICFES and some tips to present the test. What is the ICFES? The ICFES test is a evaluation applied by the Ministry of National Education with the aim of measuring the skills acquired by the students during their basic and intermediate training. The ICFES test is focused on determining the student's ability to solve problems by applying what they have learned during their school years.
And we have to have a point of presenting the evidence. Once we do not worry presenting a test, our advice fills us with nervous is normal, but the important thing is to prepare and know what you will face. This test is composed of five thematical tests: critical reading, social sciences, natural sciences, and English, and also two secondary tests. Citizens will also find you with multiple choice question with a single answer and open-ended short answer question. Do you want to know a little? Well, in the next few minutes, we will leave you a clear picture of all this.
Critical reading. In the critical reading test, you evaluate the areas of language and philosophy through questions that account for the analysis of different types of tests. Here we'll propose continuous tests that are written in prose and discontinuous texts, such as charts, tables, cartoons, and infographics. About it, you will have give account of your competence to interpret arcs and propose next. Let's see an example of one of the questions.
The important thing to answer correctly in this test is to take the time to understand and interpret what you are reading. Have the ability to analyze the readings and respond accurately to what you are asked. We recommend you to practice conscious reading at least 40 minutes a day. After reading, do yourself question about what you read help you with questions that where are we, where and why will always be a good support. This test will have an approximate of 40 questions.
Mathematics and quantitative reasoning. In the mathematics test, you will evaluate the interpretation and representation, formulation and execution, competence and argumentation. All of the 10 related to statistics, geometry, algebra, and calculation. Each one of the questions will be marked in a context or in a good situation. Be family or personal, work, occupational, social or community, and mathematical or scientific.
For example, in the situations familiar problem, we'll ask your question related to personal finances or home finances. A situation or problems of the everyday environment, while in the mathematical or scientific context, we'll ask questions of abstract situations, items that do not part of everyday life. Below, you can see the example of one of those questions. The important thing to correctly answer the question of mathematics and quantitative reasoning is to take the time to analyze each of the approach and also perform the calculations supported by the formulas and mathematical approach required. We recommend you to study the basic subjects of geometry, statistics, algebra, and calculus. as well as practice with many logical reasoning exercises. This will not only improve your cognitive skills, but also help you with the response time. The test consists of approximately 52 questions.
Social science. In the social and citizenship test, three basic social thinking competencies: interpretation and analysis of perspectives and reflective thinking are evaluated. They will present historical situations as well as situations related to the remains of the citizens. Remember that this test included the sub-test of citizenship skills. Sub-2 tiers of the question correspond to the sub-test. See and sample of these questions.
The most important thing to answer correctly this question is to review the context of the social sciences, such as history, geography, economics, and politics, in addition to having very clear concepts related to the political constitution of Colombia in 1991, having to ability to multi-perspectives. This will be very useful for this test.
Natural sciences. In the natural science test, 1 is evaluate the competence of comprehensive use of scientific knowledge. 2. Explanation of phenomena. This test integrates the areas of biology, chemistry, and physics. In the biological component, aspects such as reproduction, inheritance, and evolution are evaluated.
In the chemical components, such as stoichiometry, atom or chemical chains are evaluated. In the physical component, aspects such as kinematics or electromagnetism are evaluated. Here you can see two examples of one of these questions. In conclusion, the most important thing to answer more thoroughly to the question of this test is to study with constancy of the most important context of the natural sciences divided into the three components that this has: aspects such as cellular transport, metabolic growth, gases, solutions, the human pH, kinematics, sound waves, electromagnetics will be very useful.
English. Finally, there is the English test. It consists of 7 parts like this. In part number 1, you will find notice and they will ask you where they could be located. In this section, you will find 3 answer options, A, B, and C, where only one is the correct answer.
In the part number 2, you will find 8 words marked from the letter A to the letter H. Each of the questions describes one of the 8 words, where you must look for the relationship and mark the most accurate answer on the answer sheet. Keep in mind that there are more words than we need.
In part 3, we will find short conversations with the answer options where only one is correct. You must select the one that answers the conversion of each question correctly.
In the part 4, you will find a text with 8 empty spaces that you must fill in using the correct answer option of the 3 possible. In part 5, you will find a text and then 7 questions with 3 response options from which you must choose the correct one.
In part 6, you fill in the text followed by 5 questions with 4 response options. You must choose the correct answer. And in the last part, you will find the test with the empty space that you must complete by choosing the correct answer of the 4 options that will keep you.
The most important thing to solve this test is to memorize as much vocabulary as possible, since this is the basics of this test. To memorize vocabulary, you must make a daily effort and try to relate to terms in English with the object of situations that arises, not the word or present in Spanish, because translation is a much more complex process.
This test is divided into 2 sections of our 4 hours and 30 minutes each. Doing a calculation, you have 2 minutes to answer each question. To take your time, real calming, and answer the question. You have a short answer, the other question left then at the end. Remember to have everything ready the day of the test. Your identification document, citation, pencil, eraser, and pencil holder.
Get up early. It is better that you arrive a few minutes before. It is better to start the test on time. In addition, we recommend eating balanced breakfast and have as we preferably a chocolate. This will help your activity when you are exhausted.
Remember that the entry of cell phones and other electronic devices is probably in the place where you present your test. Do not stress if you see the other people finish their test before you. You're concentrated in your exam.
Thank you for watching the video.
I hope it has been useful to you.